Hello, I'm ABX Toycat and welcome back to another Secret Features video. These are videos I make every single time an update comes out to let you know about features which are included in the update but which aren't included on the changelog. The reason this makes them secret features is because there's no official way for you to find out about them. The changelog is meant to be the official list of every single thing in the update, but sometimes they miss off small features and sometimes they miss off quite big ones, and these videos are to let you know about those features that you might not have otherwise known about. So please do like it if you do like it, not only because it helps out the channel a lot and lets me do like it, but also because these videos take a lot more, effort and researching and doing all that stuff than other ones, and also because it's a double secret features video with 10 secret features instead of 5, and hopefully that's enough reason for a like. But yeah, let's get straight into it already, shall we? With number 1, and actually a quick clarification before we get into this one, is actually that, I can't tell if there's 10 or 11 secret features in this video. I kept going on to count them before I did it, and I got 10 sometimes, 11 some other times, just in case it goes one way or the other. We've got a bonus one perhaps, potentially, if Toycat can't count. So I can't count, but what I can do is tell you about the first secret feature, which is to do with minecarts. So if you don't know, they changed minecarts in a few ways of this update. First of all, they added some new sounds to it to update to the PC standard, but they also changed the physics a little bit, and one of the cool changes of this, again, that isn't on the changelog, unlike the sounds which might be, is the fact that actually, if you're going at max speed, you can go over a 1 block gap just like that. So you saw just in there's a big 3 block fall there. I didn't just, glitch over that. You can see you can actually go over that at full speed. So you can do this round corners to some extent too, which is really, really crazy. So if I went up there, I could do it. It just takes a little bit more effort to actually center yourself. But yeah, you need to be putting your full weight forwards past the bend, and then you can jump over these gaps like this. So this is really cool because it means you can make minecart, tracks and roller coasters and stuff with a lot more variance to them. And I think it's a cool little change. It's a tiny one, but it's a nice one because you could mostly cross the gap before, but now you can fully cross it. So that's secret feature number 1. Secret feature number 2 can be simply just thought of as cake stone. So what is cake stone, or cake redstone if you want to be pedantic? Basically, cake redstone is where you can actually use the cake as a measuring tool for the redstone comparator. You might think, what does that even mean? So if you're not familiar with the redstone comparator, it measures a bunch of different block states. It measures how many items on a chest, stuff like this, but it now can measure the amount of cake you have eaten. So here are 2 cakes, measured by comparators. There's, they're basically the same thing over and over again, but this one is a full cake. As you can see, the redstone signal goes a lot further. It's still pretty strong here, and then as, just for a pretty strong comparison, here's the same cake, but I've eaten 4/6 of it, and now you can see it's gone a lot less there. So just a straight up comparison, with just 2/6 of the cake left, it goes a lot less far than it does with all of the cake left. So yeah, cake can be used in redstone now, which means if you want to measure how much, I don't know, like food you've eaten over time, as long as it's in cake, you can do that. It's a very, very bizarre thing. I don't see this being used in any serious redstone, but if cake stone is a thing that interests you, then this is quite the thing right there. So let's move on to secret feature number 3, which I did check to see if it was on the PC, and if it is, then I just am blind, because basically, you might have just noticed it there. Prismarine has the subtlest animated texture. It's so subtle that, I stared at it for, like 20 seconds after someone pointed out to me, and I was like, no, there's no animated texture. You're all seeing this one, but I saw so many comments, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna sit down for a solid few minutes, and if, multiple consoles, and if I don't see it, then, everyone's giving me this collective hallucination. But what I instead found is that every, 10, 15 seconds, the color of the Prismarine does kind of a stark change. Some of them it blends between, some of them it just kind of, changes dramatically. So here it is right here. You've probably noticed a couple of changes while we've been doing this, but it's so very, very hard to notice. So it's going pretty blue right now. Very, very subtle changes, and basically you get 3 colors, blue, green, and purple. Like I said, I couldn't notice green on the PC, so I think this might be some amount of console exclusive, but, I can't read up any information about this being on PC, but it might be there. It's just, in my experience and in my checking, it's not. So, either the coolest console exclusive, or one of the bizarre, just features. It's something you probably didn't notice, because it takes a lot of staring at to look at, and it makes Prismarine even cooler, and it makes Ocean Monuments even cooler, and if you don't have some of this block already, you need to make a new world and get yourself some. So, yeah, that is that. I'm actually going to be doing a stream at some point, maybe after this video, where I'm going to be trying to drain a temple so I can get this stuff, because there's so many cool blocks, and this is one of them. So, Prismarine is secret feature number 3. It has an animated texture that is the longest animation in the game, and that's a fun little fact that even if you knew about, you might not have known before. So, yeah, let's move on to secret feature number 4, which is to do with anvils and to do with name tags. So, basically, here you can see I've given myself some name tags, or a name tag. If we put it in there, we can rename it, and instead of, let's just be like S. It costs us now just a single experience point. Before this update, it would have cost something like, I think it's 8 all the time, but the downside to this new system is every single time you want to rename something, it doubles in cost. I think this is every time you repair it in general. So basically, what this means is, here's a name tag we've repaired so many different times that when we put this in, and we want to change this to be, I don't know, free cats. Yeah, free cat. That's a solid name for a name tag. Then it costs 32, because it goes from 1 to 2 to 4 to 8 to 16 to 32, and obviously 32 is way too much to change to rename it. But yeah, basically this means you need to watch out when you're repairing. Repairing isn't just this infinite catch-all anymore. It's something that actually does have a downside over time. So yeah, as well as enchanting being cheaper, which is something a lot of people didn't really properly catch on to. Name tags and any naming system has gotten a lot cheaper because naming doesn't give you anything. It just makes your stuff sound cooler. And I'm glad they kind of made the cost reflect the fact that it did nothing. Which I mean, really it should be 0, but I think 1's a good compromise there. So let's move on from that feature to a secret feature to the enchantment table, which is really cool because it patched out one of the vulnerabilities on the console to do with the exit and save feature. So if you don't know, on console you can exit without saving, or if you get the wrong enchantment, you can go back and do it. At least before this update you could, because with this update there is something called an enchantment seed. So this enchantment seed is stored per player, and basically a really interesting thing about this is it means that, let's say we have 2 swords here, the 2 swords just to prove a point, but if you have a sword, you might think, before this update I'm going to try and get, let's say we really want sharpness 4. So if we really wanted sharpness 4, which we don't actually have an option for here, just with our level 1 enchantments, or sharpness 1, let's say, then basically before this we could be like, oh, knockback 1, unbreaking 1, let's put that back in there and do that again. But you might notice that every time you do this, you get the same things. This is because they're stored to your player seed, and it means that you have to get one of these enchantments before you can move on to the next one, which means, on the PC, you can make a copy of a save and do the whole thing again, or you can just keep doing this till you get one you want. So, knockback 1, unbreaking, then we put the second sword in there just to show it's the same. Every single tool will have the same enchantments for that tool over and over again, which means if you want to, and let's just prove it, if you want to get, to another set of ones rather other than knockback, unbreaking, then if we put on, knockback right here, and then we put the second sword on, then you'll see we're going to get 3 different sets of enchantments. We're going to get sharpness, we're going to get bend fire prods, and something else. So yeah, they made it a little bit more tactical, a little bit less based on exiting without saving, and I think that's a really cool thing to fix, because, it really shouldn't have been part of the game, it just kind of was in some bizarre way, and now it's been patched, which I think is basically they replaced it with the new enchantment system, but this is a nicety of it. A lot of people didn't really appreciate. So yeah, if you want to get a specific enchantment now, the only way to abuse it is to get like 10 people in your world, and wait until someone gets the exact right stuff you need, then they need to have the levels, then they need to have the lapis with them, and basically it's unabusable, which I think is quite nice, and the only way to abuse it is kind of just teamwork, if you ask me. So yeah, that is the new enchantment system, and something a lot of people didn't realize about it. Every player has an enchantment seed that can't be reset by leaving and entering the world, and I think that's pretty cool. So secret feature number 5 was kind of lengthy to explain, but I'm glad I got out of the way. So let's move on to secret feature number 6, which again, it's some of it was in the changelog, but it doesn't really clarify the full thing, because you might have heard that skeletons will now flee from dogs, and that's true, but it implies kind of like a, cat-creeper relationship, right? Where cats scare creepers for some reason, and dogs would scare skeletons, but they don't just scare skeletons because, they're dogs and they're skeletons. They scare skeletons because if the dog catches up to the skeleton, which we'll show you here, hopefully, if we can actually get them to, so let's, one sec. Basically, the dog will attack the skeletons, what I'm trying to say here, which wasn't something mentioned on the changelog, and it's something really, really cool, because it means that now, if you have a cat with you, and you have a dog with you, not only will they flee you, but the skeletons will be eaten by the dog before they do anything, and because they're fleeing, they won't fight back. So it's a really cool little change to the dog-skeleton mechanic. It makes sense, because dogs love bones so much, why don't they just get them from the source? And the answer is now, they will go get them straight from the source. So, yeah, that's secret feature number 6 right here. Secret feature number 7 is to do with the armor stands. So, it's actually an interesting console exclusive kind of feature that they probably should have mentioned, because I guess, you can argue if this is a feature or a limitation, but either way, it's both to some extent, because basically, you can only place down 16 armor stands. So, a funny little glitch, or, it's kind of an intention feature that's kind of a glitch, is that you can place down multiple armor stands if you just do it like this. But you can only place down 16 armor stands at once, whether you place them together or whether you place them, separately. So let's just place down a bunch separately. You can only place down 16 armor stands at once. There is, in fact, I need to have a 71 to prove that. But basically, just take my word for it. There is only, you can only have 16 armor stands at once. Any more than that, which is, by the way, the max that you can have of them, and it will say there is the max number of armor stands in the world reached, which means, like there is a minecart and a boat limit, there is an armor stand limit too. Exactly why, I don't know if it affects performance too badly, is beyond me, but 16 is the limit, and it feels a little low, but hopefully they'll raise that in the future. But yeah, a armor stand limit is on the console. It's nowhere else, so it's one they really probably should have mentioned, but they didn't, and that's why it's a secret feature. So let's move on to secret feature. This is where the counting thing gets lost. So, in post you're seeing this, but I'm not seeing that, and it's actually to do with the crafting table. So the crafting table has had a few changes, or, crafting recipes have been added. So in the changelog, they mentioned the chiseled stone brick, which is really cool, by the way. They mentioned the mossy stone brick, and they mentioned the moss stone, which I really do like, strength that are in the game, but they didn't mention diorite, granite, and andesite, as well as the polished versions, and they also didn't mention the more unique one, which is combining full rabbit leather to make leather. So again, you can kind of argue any one of these things are almost implied, but a lot of people didn't know about these new recipes. There is a leather, the rabbit leather recipe. There is, this recipe, and they're for items that you might not have known you could craft. So that's that right there. Also along the same lines, I believe they changed the cobblestone stairs to be called cobblestone stairs instead of stone stairs, because that was kind of bizarre before. And yeah, just a few changes that you might not realize. That's number 8, hopefully. So number 9, I've actually done it for a separate video, but there are 2 new mobs in this update that weren't in the changelog. There is the villager chicken jockey, and there is the baby zombie pigman jockey. So I'll just quickly go to the nether and show you the baby zombie pigman jockey, just in case you're like, wait a minute, is that a real thing? So yeah, it's just flying there. Really, if you're flying, it should go through portals instantly. But yeah, let's head to the nether, which, by the way, this is my personal experience of a bug. This is a bug, not a feature. People don't want to have their portals like this, I assure you. But yeah, let's hop out here, and let's show you my baby zombie pigman jockey. So he's just up here right now. As you can see, pretty swell mob, got a tiny little sword on, got a chicken which is basically the same size as him. This thing's really cool because it doesn't take full damage, but they're really rare to find in the wild, and the reason for that is because obviously the chicken is killed by the, he's got like 4 health points, so like that's 4 hits directly, if I just quickly show you. 4 hits from a fist, or like 3 hits from a fire, but it means that if it goes through, if it happens to go through a fire, then it will die very, very fast. So something to watch out for. But, the benefit is you get more XP for killing the whole thing, and apparently he's going to hide in the redstone there. So, the bedrock there. So, yeah, that's that right there. Secret feature number 9. So, secret feature number 10 is actually to do with going to the menu screen. And it turns out there is 11, or I miscounted and there's still 10, but whichever you want to pick. Basically, it's to do with new splash screens, so hopefully we just get one while we're going here. Basically, they added a bunch of new splash screens in 1.8, and since the console is based on that, they just added a lot of these, and some of these are quite interesting. So, a couple of them reference servers. One of them's like, would you like to join my server? And one of them's like, this would be good for realms. But you'll also notice a few other ones. There's like quite a lot of them, like if you notice one that you haven't seen before, it is new. It's not just you not having seen one. And yeah, I think that's really cool if you ask me. I think, adding a bunch of them, changing a bunch of them too, like a few have been changed, is really cool. So, yeah, basically, I think it's cool. I notice a new one every now and then, and I think that's pretty cool like that. So, yeah, the new splash screens, these things right here, which, by the way, if you're wondering how I get them so fast for videos and stuff like that, if you just go help and options and back, it's the fastest thing you can do, because you can go to leaderboards, but it takes ages to load up, whereas, help and options, you can just do it instantly. So, we had number 1, we'll find one for realms if we do this eventually, but you get the point if we go on for long enough. Then eventually it will say, this is good for realms, it'll say that thing. And to me, a lot of people have been like, oh, is this a hint at realms? I think it's kind of leaving the possibility open. I think if there was definitely not going to be realms, they wouldn't put it there. But I think, leaving the possibility open would just be copying it, because there's no reason to just not include it, because, we might not have realms for a while. I think it's, just I think it says nothing, but I think it's slightly positive. Like, it confirms that they're not unconfirming it, if that makes sense. So that's splash screens, they're the secret splash screens, and that's the server-based splash screens. But let's move on to number 11, which is actually to do with starting a new world. So this is something that used to apply on the Xbox One and the PS4 with autosave. If you turn that off, basically what happens if you start a new world and you'd have to have autosave turned off on the Xbox One and the PS4, and because obviously without that, you're going to be doing some progress. If you go into the world and you do stuff and you're like, oh, I don't like this, which is handy for me and Seed Sunday, where I check out a world, and if I don't like it, I don't want to keep that world. Basically, as of this update, a really handy change has been made where on the 360, PS3, and presumably the Wii U and PS Vita, they've made it so they have this feature too, where if you exit a world with having done nothing to it, so, if you exit without saving before you've made a single save, basically, so yeah, we were in a pretty nice place, I think. That tree's floating on nothing. But yeah, we're like, I don't like this. I just hate tiger biomes. I want a different one. If you exit without saving, now it doesn't leave an empty world before, on your thing. And I think that's pretty cool, because chances are if you exit without saving, you probably either knew the seed or you just didn't care. And leaving new world like this is a new world I've never been into. It just, it takes ages to delete. Like, this is how long it's going to take me to delete. It's going to be like, oh, let's just sit here and wait for the new world to delete. And it's on the 360, it takes so very, very long. I think it's to do with my number of saves, but still, that's that. So I hope you did all enjoy the video. That's 11 secret features you might not have known about. If you did like it, I'd very much appreciate a like on the video, because it helps out the channel a lot and lets me know you do like it. Share it if you really likes it, and subscribe if you're new around here. I make videos like this every single day on my channel, and if you subscribe, you'll see them daily on your homepage. I'd like it to be known, just in because obviously you can't see this in post, but I have the capture card didn't pick this up, but there is a cat sitting right in front of the thing, so if you want to rewatch this with like pretending there's a cat there, that's something you can entirely do. But anyway, that's enough for now. I hope you did all enjoy the video, and I hope you all have a nice day. I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye!